Hi, this is Bill Rowell, CEO of Utopian Global. I'm back here in the US with the store team, Ryan Messer, CEO, and of course, Randall Eddington, who heads up the Midstream Director. Great to catch up, guys.
Yeah. Awesome to be here.
Yeah, good to see you.
Now, we're going to talk about a number of subjects today. First of all, we're going to touch on a bit of the drilling update at Raccoon Bend. As you all know, on the 1st of August this year, we settled on the great asset at Raccoon Bend, 3,000 hectares, about 5,600 acres, over 90 producing wells. Well, we've just added another well, which is really fantastic. What does that mean? Well, it means more reserves, more cash flow. But let's let the expert, Ryan Messer, the CEO of Store, give us a bit of an update on that. So, Ryan, give us a bit of an update on that.
Sure. As we talked about when we bought the asset, one of our main objectives was to increase the value. And so the way that we do that is through development of the field. It's one of the reasons why we bought it, right? There's plenty of upside, tremendous opportunity. So not only are we drilling new wells to find new reserves, we're working over old wells and reactivating wells that were inactive. So we're doing about 7 or 8 different workovers as well as drilling new wells. But the one that you're referring to, we're currently in completion mode now, well over 50-something feet of net pay, which is significant. Again, some of the wells that we were drilling, I gave somebody this analogy just so people could understand, because we're drilling thousands of feet into the ground. Some of the wells that we made in Louisiana and different parts of the world, even Texas, it doesn't matter where, can produce fantastic results at even 2 or 3 feet of net pay. But we have multiple sand intervals all throughout the wellbore, and so all our primary objectives were there. And then we have, and that's the 54, I think, net feet of pay, and then we have a few other ones as well, which are also prospective. So I think it's going to add significant reserves to the field, of course, increase the production out of the field, which of course increases our cash flow. So a lot of news to come out here in the next few weeks, and we anticipate that we'll have to adjust the price of our coin, obviously, to make up for that. So
that's great news, Ryan. So, and this increase in reserves that you've actually been able to tap into is not just, it's going to increase the daily reserves from 800 barrels per day currently, but that's going to compound over the next 20 years, correct?
Well, that's it, right? So the value of the field is valued on future cash flow. So every quarter we update the reserve report. We have a certified reservoir engineer that looks at the reserves. Of course, we need the well to go into production first so we can see what the initial potential of the well is. But we can estimate reserves because, again, we have 3D seismic, we have a lot of data, we have other take points around the field, so we can estimate the size of the reserves based on the wellbore that we just drilled. So we'll be commingling all of those different data points in to sort of estimate what the future value will hold for the field.
Well, that's great news for all store holders out there around the world. So increased reserves means increased asset value, which means increased store token value price. Is that right, Ryan?
You nailed it. I don't need to say anything else. I think you just said it.
So when is that going to happen? When do you estimate that?
Yeah, okay. So we're reviewing all the data now, and I think over the next couple of weeks we're going to have to make an adjustment. I'd say somewhere between 2 and 3 weeks is when we'll have the information to be able to do that. So get involved now. That's all I have to say.
Are you able to give us a bit of an idea on the increase in price? How much?
That's a good question. Somewhere between 10 and 25% is what we're thinking in terms of increase in token price to make up for the value.
So that's great news because the most important thing now for all our store owners is to actually, we want to have multiply the store asset value, and to do that we need to acquire assets, of course, and to expand on the current assets that we have. And as you've just heard from Ryan Messer, CEO of Store, we've purchased the Raccoon Bend, and we've added value. This is really where the great wealth creation comes in, is being able to add value to an asset that we've actually purchased.
Yeah, and that's just a part of it, right? So in that calculation, we'll be looking at some of the other projects as well. The letter of intent that was signed on the 2 projects that we have in Ecuador, haven't released much information on that yet. And of course, we're working on several contracts with various countries and locations for plastics to fuel. So that will be also added into the value calculation, which is where we get. So it's not all Raccoon Bend, it's sort of an amalgamation of all the assets that we're pursuing at the moment, which will increase the value of the token.
Thanks, Ryan. It's a great update. And Raccoon Bend is just such an awesome foundational asset. It's going to benefit all of us store owners around the world. We're going to cross over to our Director of Midstream, Randall Eddington. Thanks for joining us, Randall.
Yeah, glad to have you here.
Give us a bit of a background how you got involved in this natural resource sector and what actually midstream is, Randall.
Yeah, so we'll start with what midstream really is. So midstream is simply the movement of crude oil, whether it be pipeline, truck, rail. It's the movement of crude oil from point A, point B, from producer to downstream. So that's exactly what that is, and so it's really for me coming out of Oklahoma, being from Oklahoma, oil and gas is what that state's known for. That's what the biggest industry in Oklahoma, and so for us, just growing up, that's what we did. That's where we came from. So right out of college, I got to the oil and gas space, and really the midstream space, but on a different side of the midstream space. I was in corrosion control, so corrosion control of pipelines, cathodic protection, and that was in that for a couple of years, then moved over to the actual movement of crude oil on the midstream side. It was something that kind of excited me as a new challenge, and ever since then, it's been about 8-9 years now, ever since then that's the space I've been in, and I kind of just dove in head first. You could say I was thrown to the wolves, right? I had to learn it, I had to understand it. I already did understand some of it, but I fell in love, and it's kind of an odd thing to fall in love with, right? But we all have our passions, we all have things that we're great at, and that's something I enjoy doing.
So primarily, your role is a bit like a chemist. Would that be correct?
Yeah, that's very much so. I mean, if you were to look on my computer now, it's full of spreadsheets. It's full of different analysis, where we take analysis of crude, the different types of crude, the different grades of crude. I have to look at it from top to bottom and see how it fits. So if it fits on paper, great, but then I got to go out to the lab, if you will. I put these grades of crude together and see how they blend. And so that's kind of what I do on a daily basis. It's a nice change of pace. Computer, lab, out in the field, do all these different things. So I enjoy it a lot.
Okay, so for layman's terms, what I'm understanding is crude comes out of Mother Earth at different gravity weights. It's not all equal, correct?
Correct.
So what you do is you have the opportunity of buying different crudes. If it's not the standard on the market, you can buy these different gravities at discount. Is that right?
Yeah. So that's our value, being we're a midstream, but that's our value. Is we take heavier discounted crudes, we take lighter discounted crudes, and then you have those mid grades, the stuff that's already meets a spec, but you need some of that middle, what you call middle barrel stuff. So we take the two discounted, and we take the middle grades, and we make a what we call an API. It meets the API specifications, and that's what we get it to. Which API is 42 gravity and 0.42 sulfur, and that might be over some people's heads, but sulfur is the sweetness or the sourness of the crude, and it has to meet a certain specification. So it does take a bit of work, and it takes a bit of work in the lab.
So in one sense, you're blending different crudes to get it to the right market specifications, and that's where the market premium price is. I love this concept because what it actually leads us into is into the pyrolysis, polystream, plastics to fuel. This is where we're heading now. I know you've done a lot of research up to this point, the types of plastics, and of course we're going to be able to extract the hydrocarbons out of the plastic back into the midstream, and you'll be blending these hydrocarbons out of the plastics into your current midstream operation to maximize margin. High margins, high profits,
Yep.
Increase the store value. So you want to tell us a bit about that, Randall, if you don't mind?
Yeah, so pyrolysis to a certain degree has been around, right? I mean, it's happened for a while, but what's lacking is a lot of these plants don't have access to markets. They don't know what to do with the product afterwards. So while they're doing great for the environment, there's really nowhere for them to go with this, and that's our background. That's what we do. So we took some of the current and past research that people have done with pyrolysis, and we took it a step further. We'd be fools not to take what's already been out there and done for us and go, okay, well, what can we do different? And so we did that. And before, we released this project, and that was something we were working on. We had been working on this for quite a while and honing in on what we wanted to do and how it would blend with our current streams. And so, like Bill said, it adds another discounted barrel that can be sold at a much higher premium.
Thanks, Randall. That's a great update. So as you can see, I mean, you guys have achieved so much in such a short time. I mean, Store, realistically, what are we in August? It's really only 8 months old, correct?
Yeah.
And you've achieved so much already, settling on real assets which are generating income, and those assets, or those revenues I'm actually speaking about, have been resown back into the assets to drill more wells, to repair wells, to expand the revenues, moving into pyrolysis, Polystream, which is a great name, guys, your company you founded, plastics to fuel. We want to take the token price now over the next 18 months, 5 to 10x. And to do this is the team and expertise that we need to do that. So let's be patient. Let's get people in, get these revenues in. Let's keep building this token price and make this a huge success.
Absolutely.
So thanks, Randall. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.